WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of ParksCenter. Joining me on tonight's show, I have... Let me see if I can pull this up. Everybody! We have some new technology.
Steve-Occo! Damn it!
So now we can see everybody at once. So we have joining us on this show, I've got Matthew.
Hello.
I've got Nathan.
Greetings from the Sunshine State.
And Pete.
Steve-Occo!
And Tyler.
Steve-Occo 2. Infinity.
Oh, jeez.
Oh gosh, this show is going great already. I can see.
Infinity and beyond.
Ah, there we go.
I appreciate him picking it up while I was gone, but we gotta find a new one.
Fair enough.
All right, moving into our first topic for the night. We got some interesting pictures, I should say. Oop, that's not what you should be seeing.
Ooh,
that's
wow.
what you should be seeing. Sorry about that. So we've got some leaked images from inside of the Great Movie Ride. These were posted, I believe, at least somewhat anonymously online, and we've got some construction photos here. It looks like these were taken in May or June of this year, so it's been a while since these were taken before they got posted online. But you can see some of the stuff's been torn apart. Some of it's still there. We've still got all the paper fast passes sitting inside for the rider switch program and all of that. We are still keeping some of the queue mural details and things like that. The video screens in the queue are being kept. But you can see they're starting to rip up carpet and stuff like that. And then this picture right here, like this is the former pre-show room, believe it or not. It's not entirely clear to me what angle this shot was taken from, unfortunately, so I can't tell you if like we're looking down at the old screen or if it's coming back up. But you can see just how much they're having to retool that part of it for the whole going into the screen, going into the movies part of this.
Reminds me a lot of Test Track when they were sort of tearing up that original queue and they put in the new one.
Yeah.
You can't even tell like where you are in the new one. Like it's not like they kept it; they completely gutted it, and that's the case here as well.
Yeah. The one thing I am really happy that they seem to have kept so far is the handprints on the wall from where all the Great Movie Ride cast members would leave their mark there.
Where is that located?
That's what I love. So that's what I love. It doesn't matter where it's located. Do you know?
I don't know offhand where that's located.
Exactly. So that's the beauty of Disney is that, like, granted, you see all these like pictures coming out, you see like everything getting messed up. It upsets people, but they're moving on, and it's really cool. It's fun to see. But the handprints of the old cast members, I think, is like the coolest part. And I love that they're continuing that tradition with Pandora and Toy Story Land, all these other new lands, where you see them like signing the beam and something that's there forever because cast members and the Imagineers are what make up this park. Like we go there, we show up, but this is what it's all about. And GMR, literally, Great Movie Ride, was based on cast members, which is why I loved it so much. It was them. They made the whole ride. You were guided by a cast member. Your ride was it's like almost being on Jungle Cruise. If you have a good skipper, it's the best ride ever. If you have a bad skipper, you know, you just say, I hope I got a fast pass. This is what it's all about. I love that they're keeping that wall. It means a lot to me. I think it's fantastic. I'll leave room for the other people on the show.
Yeah, no, I
Another
agree
thing
with
I like that
Pete.
they're keeping.
Go ahead.
Another thing I like they're keeping is the interior of the Chinese theater. It looks like that most of it's going to be staying. Carpet. I guess carpet's got to be replaced after 30 years, but I like that sort of the majesty and the mystery of the Chinese theater is still going to be there. And
Yeah,
I
no,
think
what
that
I was saying
should
is-
inform things.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys.
Go
I
ahead.
think that I think it's perfectly legitimate for them to gut the place. What's the point of putting a new ride in if you're not going to really utilize the space? So it's a good call, and it's sad for those who love it, but it's good.
Yeah, I would have been pretty shocked, honestly, if they didn't have to do something like this at some point in time. Moving into our second topic for the night, if I can make my... There we go. We've got more pictures of things being gutted and destroyed. Because what a great way to start this show. That's Stitch,
Oh, no.
folks.
Honestly, I think it looks better. It's Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, they're going to do, like, what, five
what I
lighter
said on
Happened to
tattoos now?
family, meaning no one gets forgotten.
No, we didn't forget about him. He's just dead.
Honestly, if Disney wanted to compete with Halloween Horror Nights, they could have just done Tomorrowland, and they could have got it like everything there's under construction anyway. It could have just been all Halloween Horror Nights. Here's the old Stitch. Let's get rid of all this. It would have been fantastic.
You know, I think this is I think it's interesting when you see pictures like this come out. I love it from a fan perspective. I think it's always a little jarring especially if it's pretty new. You know, we all sort of have fresh in our brains the Stitch animatronic kind of in the fur, I guess. But you know, over time, I think these photos will come out and be something that we talk about and kind of look at back and go, oh yeah, look at that, which is cool. I would say that I don't particularly love the idea of people sneaking in and leaking stuff because it sort of pushes this idea that
Legal?
like Disney's doing something wrong. Well, that's certainly legal, but I think that the idea that like, hey, look what they've done to these figures. Well, yeah, they've done this for as long as there's been animatronics. They strip them and they use them for other things. Now, we can talk about what needs to be kept and what doesn't. I think Disney Archives does an okay job at that. I think that there are limitations in the sense that I think Buzzy is still hanging out in Wonders of Life, but he has a tag on him for archive purposes. Maybe Stitch didn't fall in line for that. I don't know. And if they have not enough warehouse space for some things that people still cherish, maybe it's time to open some sort of parks museum, huh? So,
Exactly. I think that the fact that these figures, if they weren't going to reopen the ride, something should have been taken to the archives. Something belongs in a museum somewhere. We should remember it all, the good and the bad.
Gosh, it belongs in a
I'm
museum.
serious.
I will make one
Exactly.
point, and then
Really does.
I will make one point. I will make one point. I will yield all my time to Tyler after this. Because I think Nathan made an amazing point. Is that everyone talks about a fifth gate, but what about just like having an area for old attractions, or you can go see like what happened, what was the story behind it, who built it, how they built it, the tear down, the experience, the riders per day, everything that happened, and then I would love to go see that. That could be the fifth gate. That could be something at Disney Springs or somewhere else where I would pay money to go spend a half day or a full day. And I yield my time to Mr. Tyler Mann from Canada.
What was that? That visual though of like bring up the Stitch again if you can, Ben, because that visual is just horrifying. Like
Because
I
it's
would have
way
been happy
better
to
than
see
Tyler.
oh my god, it looks like something out of Epic Mickey, like how you have like animatronic Goofy who's just like his skin has been ripped off but he's still functioning, and it's just in this horrific pose. Like if any photo from inside Stitch was going to be leaked, this is like the most horrifying one, and I'm just confused why they stripped it before it got removed from the actual location. I'm assuming because it's bolted down in such a way.
Yeah,
I'm a strong disagree. That was a good looking picture. His teeth are all in check. He's got great dental, and he can still tell it's him. It's not like it's completely torn apart. It actually looks like he's still himself. He just lost like his outer layer. It's no big deal.
It looks
his skin's just burning.
Third eye
No
where
big deal.
his nose should be.
This is what the laser cannons do to you.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It looks scarier than Alien Encounter. I'm gonna say that.
Boy, howdy, doesn't it?
Oh, could you imagine the ride that way instead?
Way better.
Oh gosh, that's what they should have done for the last show. There you go.
Way better. On this Hawaiian roller coaster.
So moving on a little bit to I guess more things closing. I think that's just kind of the general theme of tonight's show. Things closing or not happening. Disneyland has officially canceled its plans for the 4th Resort Hotel. Those of you who've been paying attention to Disneyland news may have remembered that a while back Disney bought up a bunch of land, a bunch of hotels on the other side of Disneyland from where it's been building mainly, and was planning on expanding and putting a 4th hotel there. Then Anaheim said, hey, remember those tax cuts we were going to give you? We're not going to give you them anymore. And then Disney said, remember that hotel I was going to build? I'm not going to build it anymore. So they have now gone and just canceled this whole thing. I'm a little stunned that they're like fully canceling it rather than just the on hold that they had before. Maybe there's more politics going on than we're aware of at this point, and they've been in talks and they're just going nowhere.
Yeah, Ben, I think this is a power play. I think that they need that sort of capacity, especially with Star Wars coming. Not that I don't even think this would get finished by then, but I think the idea there is there's not enough beds for the people. And they have been having quite the battle with Anaheim over the last year. This might be one ploy in that. It could really be the end of the project. But either way, that's land that they already have, so they'll be able to use it for something. Maybe it's a hotel, maybe it's something else, but we'll see before too long that used. They just need more space.
I actually think that this is also, I agree with half of that, where I think it's kind of a power play, but also it's how much revenue will Anaheim lose. And I get my father's been always so I'll tell you a personal story, always on town boards, always on city councils, all this stuff. So I get that side of it where it's like, Disney was taking advantage of you, but how much tax revenue you're going to lose not having 3,000 hotel rooms right there, text every night, always full with the brand new Star Wars land and all the new things coming. So it's a lose-lose. Disney's going to lose a ton of money, and Anaheim's going to lose a ton of money. It's just going to come to a breaking point. It's sad to see, but expect hotel prices to go way up in the California area when Star Wars Land opens, because there's not going to be more rooms.
It's mentioned in the article, but all of those businesses there are also they're closed down. Like Earl of Sandwich reopened, but everything else is still closed. And the last time we talked about this, I was just like, this funny story keeps getting funnier and more ridiculous with well, we say this, well, we say this, well, if you're not going to do it, it keeps going. I don't think this is over by any stretch. There's something else is going to come out of this. They'll announce a smaller hotel maybe, or something like that. But this is not the end of this story.
I think it kind of has to not be the end. I mean, they're literally sitting on a huge plot of land with no direction. Unless they're going to start announcing new restaurants coming to the area. Hope you like your Earl's Club.
Real talk, Earl of Sandwich is the best sandwich.
It's the greatest sandwich of all
absolutely
time.
delicious.
They are still the best sandwich of all time.
There's just zero.
They make
debate
a good
on this topic,
sandwich.
I'm sorry. They're I forget the name of it, but their Thanksgiving sandwich is the greatest thing ever.
Ooh, that's a big classic. I like the Chipotle chicken.
That's fair. Moving on to more things that are not happening. I'm just going to use the same segue all night. Disneyland's Jedi Training Academy is announced to be closing. This was picked up by the Orange County Register. Disneyland will officially be closing their Jedi Training Trials of the Temple on November 3rd. Again, this is in Disneyland. There was a story that was put out that we have updated that Jedi Training will be remaining at Disney's Hollywood Studios. We originally heard during a web conference with travel agents on Tuesday afternoon that it would be closing in Disney World as well as Disneyland. Disney has since come out and corrected that. That is not the case. So it is going to still be a thing in Disney World, but in Disneyland it is going away. I'm a little surprised about that, to be honest with you.
I'm surprised at the timing. I think the timing is what's surprising. Galaxy's Edge is not necessarily here just yet, and when you have Star Tours and then this, that's sort of what your Star Wars is. And I would expect it. I think they would have done this. I just think it wouldn't have been so soon.
So me,
I agree. I will also.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. I will say, Jedi training in Disneyland always felt less organic to me than the one at Hollywood Studios. I can see where it's kind of in an awkward spot. I wouldn't be surprised if it came back, though, maybe as a show in the Magic Eye Theater there. It is the Magic Eye.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where it doesn't go away forever. For me, and I could be completely wrong, so I'm sorry to the West Coasters, but I think that was like done like almost in Tomorrowland, kind of, sort of. Like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I remember walking by. I went there the first time last December, and I was walking by, and I go, "Why is this happening here?" It was almost like if it's happening like Cosmic Rays in the Magic Kingdom. Like if Sunny was like singing his song, Sunny Eclipse, and then he shut down for Jedi training. It makes no sense.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a stage off to one side, if I remember correctly, at least. That is, it is near their Star Tours. It is not adjacent to it.
But it's over.
You could easily be confused by that.
You make it sound like something being placed in Tomorrowland.
That's why. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense there. This, I think, is our Disney making a good move. Shut it down for a little bit, put it somewhere else where it makes sense. And Hollywood Studios has a good spot for now, and then you know it's going to get moved once Galaxy's Edge opens.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm worried about theming. I'm not sure Jedi training makes a lot of sense when it comes to Galaxy's Edge and the timing of everything. I mean, I think they can reassess the story. I think I don't exactly remember where in canon Galaxy's Edge takes place. It's certainly during the Resistance, so maybe it works in some sort of way.
But what I'm
it's
saying
really
is,
not.
So to play the other side of the card is that, like, Galaxy's Edge to me seems like it's so focused on adults. It'll be all like adult play. Everything's going to be very, very interactive. What do you have for the kids? So I don't think you can get rid of it. Maybe
I think you have Star Wars Land.
I think it's more for adults. I think it's going to be more for adults.
Moving from a show catering to kids that is closing to a show catering to kids that is closing, Jack Sparrow's now got a new meet and greet. There was a pirate tutorial show here originally that was essentially it was Jedi Training Academy, but pirates, and this has now been replaced with just a basic Jack Sparrow meet and greet. Picture here, nothing really to write home about. Nice set, I'll give him that. Like it is a nice little backdrop to have, but that's really about all there is here. This feels like yet another instance of because money. Let's cut things back.
I mean,
there's
one
very
other
serious
performer. Tyler, yes.
Go ahead,
Can I ask a
Tyler,
very
go.
serious question in regards to these last two items? Has any child ever been visually shown that they enjoy what they're doing on those stages? Because I've never seen a kid look anything more than scared or confused in either one of these shows.
I think
And
they're
From what I hear
parents-
from parents, they like it.
I think
What I
you're
hear from
wrong.
parents.
So I'm
For the
not,
moment, they're
I am not a parent, but I am an uncle to many, many young children, and meeting your hero is one very stunning. So you might act surprised and shocked and shy at first, but once you get into it, I think this is like one of those moments you remember. So like we're here now. Those kids who met Captain Jack Sparrow this week literally will be on this show in 30 years or somewhere like that, saying these are the memories I remember. Those are the things you remember, is meeting those heroes in person, and you can't believe it. You're stunned. You don't know what that's like. I think this is – I'm sad to see more interaction go. Thank God there's a meet and greet. But these are the moments that from 25 years from now we'll hear about.
You know, and you make up a good point, Pete. I wouldn't be surprised if in Disneyland we see what was used for the Jedi training end up being a meet and greet for the time being. We'll see if that happens, of course, but it's a space that they could use for that. Meet and greets still get numbers, so maybe that's an alternative for the Disneyland problem.
Well, I will give it this. The tutorial closed a while ago. I mean, it's not like it's a recent closure. Something is better than nothing. That's my feeling. I would rather have a meet and greet than an empty space at this point. So I don't see it necessarily being a bad thing.
I agree with Matthew, and I think something better than nothing. And also, everyone underestimates meet and greets because we're adults, we're having a good time. But literally, take someone who's young, and I help my friends who have young children. It's all meet and greets. They don't care about rides.
Mm-hmm. I think on the final point, though, there was a second performer in that Jack Sparrow show. Clearly,
Who's
they're no longer
amazing.
there in that position.
Yes.
And because of that, we're just seeing what I'm calling Chapek slaughter. The continuation of actors getting sort of cut throughout the park.
I hate it. I hate
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of entertainment cuts.
Great point. Great point. Great point.
Yep.
Moving to more Chapek things. Let's make more hard ticketed events, folks.
And back to Star Wars.
And Star Wars still. We're going backwards a bit. There have been some new details for the Millennium Falcon ride. And there's also a new possibility that there's a hard-ticketed preview event for Galaxy's Edge. All right, so let's real quick go over the new details that we have for the ride. So Hondo is the owner of this Hondo Okana's Transport Solutions. Sending your crew on a mission, you'll see the Falcon outside, and you're going to board the Falcon from underground on Batu. We don't quite know storyline why yet, but I mean, there you go. The different scenarios that we know about, I will say I don't think we necessarily know there will be exactly 3, but we do know 3 of the missions that you could possibly be going on. One where there is a race that you're being entered into, one where there is a mission possibly for the Resistance, where you're being sent to a First Order shipyard. And then a third where you're being sent to steal some piece of cargo, but it's guarded by essentially a dragon, and the dragon wakes up. I think, honestly, that sounds pretty cool. I'm looking forward to the missions that they've got for this, and I think that's a pretty great selection.
I love that it's Hondo. If you know Star Wars canon, Hondo has been in Star Wars Rebels, the cartoon, and he's shown up in a few books and different things as well. He's a fun character, and I sort of love that they're insinuating that he makes it all the way through till Resistance times, which is pretty great. So bringing back a very comical sort of pirate, you can't really trust him character is a lot of fun. I'm glad they're going in that direction.
Cutting back to the article really quickly, though, the other half of this that I do definitely want to make sure we get to is that a recent commercial film by Disney seems to be pointing to the idea that there will be an opportunity for premium access to the land, likely in the form of some sort of hard-ticketed event, probably in Disneyland since it's going to be opening there first. This seems interesting to me. I don't quite have a strong opinion.
You need to buy it.
Yeah, this is what I want to talk about, because I'll leave all the Star Wars to you guys, and you guys know it way better than me. But marketing, this is genius by Walt Disney, because they already are predicting 3-hour waits to get into the land. That's without waiting for a ride. That's just to get into the land. So if you can sell your Star Wars lifer or the parents who have kids or anyone else and say you're the first access, or you don't have to wait those 3 hours to get into the land, you can just have everything. That price is huge. That's why they're building a Star Wars hotel at Disney Hollywood Studios for $400 to $600 a night, and with a 3-night max. Like, this is what people want. This is what people have been waiting for the last 20 years of their lives. This is, I'm not going to lie to you, this is the most genius thing Disney has done, because this is an actual way to make more money. If people want to spend the money. Keep park tickets down and charge people an extra $200 to come see the land early. I think it's genius.
It
Can we
does
take,
seem
like, an
like a
extra
good
minute on
method of
this?
crowd control.
Because I was gonna say, can we take an extra minute on this? Because
Yeah,
I would pay for it. I would actually, like, if I'm not going to go back until Star Wars is open, I would wait. I would save up that money for that hard ticket, just to be able to go in there and get on those rides without the sort of 3-hour line to just get into the land. especially given what Pandora was like the first year that I was there when it opened. I would have preferred to pay extra to just go into Pandora by myself or with a limited number of people, because if I can imagine what Star Wars Land is going to look like, in my head, the crowds and swarms of people, I feel will ruin part of that experience for me. Not to say that it did with Pandora, but it doesn't. It's not going to feel like my story if there's going to be swarms and swarms.
I'm
of
saying
like that.
I just did extra times in Toy Story Land where I walked onto everything, and I would have paid extra for that. For people, and I'm not even a Star Wars fan. For people who are Star Wars fans, to literally be able to walk in and see the land and maybe go on a ride, maybe not even go on the ride, paying an extra $200 a day, and you never have to wait. It's insane.
I think it's insane, but
I
for a
will
different
say
reason.
I will say to the converse.
Ben, we're doing this for the rest of the day.
No, keep going. My
I do think
apologies
it's
to
a
Tom
good way
Sawyer.
of-
We'll get to him next week.
Yeah, go ahead. Who cares about Tom Sawyer? Go ahead. We're going to do Ben and Nathan.
Matthew, go
I
ahead.
do think it's a great method of crowd control. That being said, I love Star Wars. I'm wearing a Darth Vader shirt just for this episode. The New Hope is still my favorite film. I'm willing to wait. I will wait until the crowd goes down. This seems like a great method to control the crush of people that will be going just because it's brand new. On the other hand, I would much rather wait it out and enjoy it with less crowds and not have to spend that money.
You're crazy.
I am.
You're
Yeah,
crazy.
I think this is. I think it's a. In the end, it's a capitalist business, and because of that, it's going to seek the greatest amount of funds it can make out of something, and there is supply and demand, and there is certainly demand for this and for not getting in there with a bajillion people at the same time. I don't have really any issue with the concept. I don't know. I wish if they knew that this is what they wanted to do, that they'd spend the money to make the land bigger or figure out how to. I feel like they've really dropped the ball over the last couple of years here trying to prepare for this. And I think they're going to find themselves with crowds all over the place, not just in Hollywood studios. And it's going to be kind of crazy all around. And I think if they would have spent a little more time, look, here's the thing. I think that they would be doing this whether they had made Star Wars Land even bigger or not. I don't think that's going to change. But I think that they also know that, hey, if the land's a little smaller, we can do a little bit. We can, make them pay a little bit more. So,
I got you. So I'm going to say it in my 45 seconds. I don't even care. Is that this is the largest expansion ever. They're trying to fit as many people as possible. It's the largest expansion in their history on both coasts. It's crazy. And now they already know that the estimates are 3 hours to get into the land without a ride. Why not charge extra to come in early? I'm a Disney stockholder. Go crazy. Yeah, charge $200, charge $300. I don't care. I might even do it.
Ride.
I might even pay it just for fun. Like, why not? I hate lines. I might even do it. I think this is genius. This is the right thing to do. It's the largest expansion in the history of the company in the last, 15 years. Let's go. It's a money grab, and I love it.
Another idea, timed entry. Timed entry,
First of all, Matthew, how do you even say you're ready to wait like a year and a half to get into the park? I've only seen one Star Wars movie, and I want to be there the day of. Like, that's crazy to me. That's insane.
I hate lines. I also hate paying
So
to
do I.
avoid lines.
That's why I'm gonna pay that extra money. Let's go. I'm gonna walk my way in.
I think what we love about Pete is he's a sucker and will spend extra money to go to the same thing that I will in 2 years.
That is why I need to be on this show, because I am your average Disney consumer. Let's go. This is what I'm talking about. Let's spend that money.
That's true.
You guys are all jaded.
Poor Tom Sawyer.
I want with you. I'll pay extra. I want.
You have to talk to Martin Short before you make any decisions.
All right, I'm calling this here for the night, folks. Like, apologies to Tom Sawyer. We'll fit you in next week.
Apologies to everyone.
Apologies to Matt Damon.
Yeah, thank you.
Apologies to Matt Damon. Good show.
Thank you, folks, for joining us this week. If you are getting this in audio form and you'd like something a bit more visual, please check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/WDWNT. You can find our show there along with a bunch of other WDWNT videos. You can also watch us record live on WDWN Tunes every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. If you are watching this and would prefer this in a podcast form, we do have that available as well. Search wherever fine podcasts are sold for ParksCenter, and you should be able to find us. Thank you all for watching. If you are watching this live, coming up right after this is Around the Hub, so I highly recommend you stick around and check that out. Other than that, thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next week.
See you, bye.